So this is going to be a little bit different than what we're used to seeing on this channel. A couple weeks ago, I flew out to Arizona for our Net Revenue Summit. We did one specific day on that summit dedicated to business owners within our boardroom mastermind. They're all 7-figure plus business owners. And I unpacked exactly how to build a $10 million operating system for your company. Now, contrary to popular belief, I believe that this is one of the most important parts of scaling a business. And it's one of the reasons we've been able to scale net revenue to multiple 8 figures and sustain that revenue and that profit for years. Not just for 1 year, not for a couple months, but for over 6 years, we've been scaling consistently, all while being able to retain 60 plus businesses within our portfolio, doing over $250,000 a month each. So grab a pen and paper, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Can everyone hear me good? Is this good? Here, it's good? Okay, good. Let's see if this clicker works. Okay, it works. I just spoiled the whole thing. So first, I'll be covering, guys, today just the operating system that basically built net revenue as it is today. I'm the COO, so everything I do is just help the company grow sustainably. Because we could bring on all the clients in the world, we could bring on all the closers in the world, but if we start losing those clients, we start losing those closers because we don't have the right systems for them, then we're just going to be running on a treadmill. We're not going to be making any sort of progress, okay? So today, I've got a lot to cover. We're already like 10, 15 minutes behind. I'm going to move pretty quickly. Like we've already said, you guys are going to get all the slides. The important thing, though, is every tool that I'll show you today, I'll be giving you guys a template, okay? So you have an actual template of the one we use. So for all of our scorecards, our stoplights, our quarterly goals, all that fun stuff, I'll template whatever I can. Some of it I cannot. I'll template whatever I can. So obviously take notes as you go, but keep in mind that you will be getting most of these resources within our boardroom folder for everybody here. Cool? All right, let's dive into the sexiest part of a business, in my personal opinion, the operating system. So what we're going to cover today is 4 major components. Now, obviously, an operating system of a business has much more than this, but I've got about 50 minutes to really blow your guys' socks off and change your business. And these are, in my opinion, the 4 most important things that I could pull out of net revenue so that you guys can create your own versions for where you are today. And truthfully, I've already kind of spoken to everybody about your business and where you're at. If we had what I'm about to show you when we were at the size that most of you guys are at right now, especially the team size, because it seems like most people are 20 to 40 on their team. If we had even half of this, me and Ambro would both look a lot younger. We'd both probably be a lot happier and probably a lot richer. So I'm really, really excited to break this down for you guys. Okay, the first part is the knowledge base. Second part is our 3-year quarterly targets. Third part's our department pillars. And fourth is our tech stack, okay? So knowledge base. Now, our knowledge base is basically the foundation of where everything lives within the company. Okay, so originally we had this on ClickUp. Now we've built our own via WordPress, our own knowledge base via WordPress. You guys can imagine we scale companies for a living, right? That's all we do. Companies hire us, we scale them. The amount of resources, the amount of content, the amount of dashboards, scorecards, links that are needed to do that sustainably are very, very hard to manage at scale. When you're working in 60 businesses, it's not just our business now. We've got 60 companies that we've got to look after. It's like, imagine you're a founder one day and you wake up and you're like, yeah, I'll go start 59 more businesses. Why the fuck not, right? You would never do that. So the knowledge base, if we did not have that, none of this would be possible. Everything I'm about to explain over the next 3 pillars, they live in this knowledge base, okay? So the knowledge base has 2 major components to it. It's got the front page that everyone has access to, and then it's got department folders that are hidden per role, okay? So if you're on the sales team, you're not gonna see the banking statements from the P&Ls or XYZ. So those are hidden per role. We structure those roles within G Suite, so it's all accessible that way. If you're using like a Notion or a ClickUp for your knowledge base, you can just hide things per users. So it's pretty simple. So the company layer, like I said, that's where you see our handbooks, our core values, our org chart, roadmap, and our vision statement. Okay, there's a couple other things, but that's the main component of it. So anybody that gets onboarded, right? A lot of you guys are talking about like onboarding sales reps effectively and your systems are too slow. Anybody that gets onboarded, not only are they getting the core values, the vision, the roadmap drilled in by Daniel, Then they're getting it drilled in by Ben and Ashley on Fast Track. They have it on their knowledge base. That's their link. They bookmark it on their page. It's the first thing they see every time they open up their computer. They know where the company's going. They know who their direct reports are. They know how to operate within the company, and they have it directly in front of them. They never have to search for it. Okay. This used to live in Slack for us, right? We'd like pin a message in our Slack channel of our handbook, for example. And then the amount of messages I would answer every single day were, hey, where's this again? Hey, where's that again? Hey, where's this tool again? Now it's all there. Okay. Then our department folders, I'll actually break down here. Yeah, there you go. So you have a picture of it. This is actually what ours looks like, by the way. And I'm providing you guys the Miro board of the wireframe of this. So of how each one's actually broken down, because there's a specific pattern within each department, okay? And I'll probably try to exit out and just show it to you while I'm going. So you can see on the right, that's what everybody has access to, right? Who we are, company handbook, company calendar, company directory, and then the popular articles latest. Our teams is really where everybody's like main resources live that they use. So I actually don't. So here, let me pull up the actual Miro board here. So the inside of each team folder is structured in a way that every member of the team has exactly what they need to operate at a high level within their department. Okay, so they've got their team directory. So obviously you guys at 20, 30, like your teams aren't going to be the biggest teams, but in our case, they've got team leads, they've got sales directors, they've got multiple points of contact. They've got their scorecard. So what defines success within their department? I'll touch more on scorecards in a little bit. They've got their dashboards, their value engines. Value engines for us are, when Daniel showed you the recruitment engine on Miro, that's what a value engine is, okay? So it's a crucial process within a department that the department could not run if you didn't have it. You want to map that out on Miro step by step, and you want to revisit it every quarter. So they got their value engines, they got their playbook vault. Playbook is our SOPs. So they got their SOPs, and then they've got their quarterly goals. Okay, and then obviously they'll have folders for their resources, right? So HR resources, onboarding resources, JDs, all that. This is for the recruitment side, so all that fun stuff. So every member now, everything is in one place for them. They have it directly in front of them. Nobody's going to be asking you where to get a resource from, and this, to me, has just saved me so much time, okay? And then each one of these resources, I'll actually dive in a little bit more as to how we build it. So that's the knowledge base. Next, and I know I'm moving fast here, guys, but I want to make sure we get through all of it. Next is our targets. So you guys saw in the knowledge base within each team, we've got targets, right? What is each department responsible for? We treat every department in our company like its own profit center, even if they don't necessarily generate profit. So our recruiting team, even though, yes, they do generate profit because we have an outbound recruiting headhunting arm of the business, we treat it like a profit center. We measure it, we track it, we have goals, we measure the profit, we measure the expenses. Our sales team, obviously, right? Our operations team, our finance, they all have targets that they need to abide by. Where do we get the targets is probably the most important part that I'll leave you with today. We start by doing a 3-year plan, okay? So we build a 3-year plan as to, hey, in the next 3 years, here's where we want to land. Revenue, profit, products, and vision or impact. In the next 3 years, here's where we want to land. We break it down quarterly. So obviously, well, hey, I want to get here in the next 3 years. What do I need to do every single quarter over the next 12 quarters to hit that goal? And then when you have it quarterly, now you can break it down per department. And then we're able to trickle down as to how each person directly impacts the growth of the company. That level of clarity from every member on your team is going to significantly increase the speed at which you move as a company and the effectiveness at which you do it. The number one problem we had as a company about 3 years ago, we were all phenomenal at what we did. We were all incredibly driven. We all had really big goals, and we all pulled in opposite directions 99.9% of the time. Amber wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, Ben wanted to do this, and we all just went and did it. And it felt good. It felt like we were really productive. But what happened is we start pulling focus away. We're not rowing in the same direction. And you get to the next quarter, and we didn't actually take the steps forward that maybe we made more money, but we didn't know where we were going. We didn't know who was contributing in the best way possible. Now, everything is built from that pillar, that 3-year North Star goal. For some of you guys, that are a little bit earlier on, I would probably recommend doing a year, like start with a year goal. For those who have at a little bit more consistent income or consistent revenue for a while, just do the 3-year. And then I have a sheet for you guys. I think most of you already have access to it, but if you don't, we'll get it to you. That you'll put that goal and then you'll put your growth, and it'll actually break down each quarter for you and what you need to hit profit and revenue each quarter. And then again, you build the quarterly planning around that. Okay. So I actually think, yeah, so this is what the 3-year plan looks like. You guys will all have access to this. I actually can't take credit for this. I didn't make this. This was, I forget his name. We stole it from somebody a few years ago. And anyways, I don't remember who it was. So I can't take credit. So, just for legal reasons, I guess. Sales, profit, quarter over quarter growth, and then it breaks down each quarter. Everything below the halfway point is formula. So it breaks down every quarter. And then from there, we break that into the quarterly. So on the quarterly side, it's what's our strategic pillars. So every quarter, we usually choose 1 to 2 strategic pillars, meaning what is the thing that stopped us? What is the biggest constraint that we were having in the last quarter, right? So Travis talked about one of our accounts that struggled with show rate, right? They had like 27% show rate. Now we're at 60 something percent show rate. Q4 of 25, so last year, our biggest constraint that we identified was show rate. Most of our offers were coaching companies. As you guys probably know, if you work with coaching companies, the trust has really declined in coaching across the board. And it's gotten harder and harder and harder to get people to be excited about and show up to calls, especially when they book from an ad. So our company-wide show rate at the time, I think, was like 36% company-wide. 2 years ago, it was like 60, 70%. So this was, we identified, hey, in Q3, we're not hitting our targets. What's going on? We identified our show rate is the number one thing holding us back. So then when we did our quarterly planning, we put our main strategic pillar as show rate. And then all of our attack vectors, all of our action items from every department that impacted it was focused on increasing the show up rate. So you guys can see it's kind of that trickle down, right? Like that's really the key is you start at the top and then you trickle down. What is the constraint? That's what you hear Ambro talking about. What is the constraint? What is stopping us from hitting those numbers? And then when you find it, then you break it down into more, right? So our show rate sucks. Well, what's under it? Well, our speed to lead is terrible, right? People aren't hitting their dials. People aren't following up. All of these activity metrics that we can now put into tracking, and we can track it and we can enforce upon it and we can create culture that breeds it. Department pillars. So now, remember I showed you guys the knowledge base. We have all of our teams, all of our departments. You might want to just call them teams, departments, whatever it is. We actually don't really use the word department. We use teams. So each department we have is run by these main 5. And then I added a bonus one, the time studies, because it's something we did recently that really impacted us. But each of our teams are run by these main 5 pillars. Okay, so remember, we got the 3-year goal. Then we got the quarterly goal. We got the quarterly planning. And now we're able to break it down per department. Okay, so I know what I need to do this quarter. What does hiring need to do for that to be possible? What does sales need to do for that to be possible? What does operations need to do, fulfillment need to do for that to be possible, right? For us, most of our income is from fulfillment because we service businesses, right? We service clients, we generate sales. So for us, it's like, what does fulfillment need to accomplish for my quarterly goal to be possible? And then we break that down into the department Stoplight Report. We break it down into the department dashboard, into their engines, into their SOPs. Everything trickles down. The Stoplight Report is something we started doing, again, a year and a half ago, that without a doubt has been one of the biggest impacts across our company from an operations standpoint in a long time, okay? Ben touched on the Stoplight Report because he has one with his sales team. Every single team, every single leader has some form of a Stoplight Report. So the key here, a Stoplight Report is not automated, it's manual. Whoever owns the number updates the report. You basically have your 4 to 5 KPIs that dictate the success of that department. And those might change from quarter to quarter, right? Q1, our show rate was great. Q2, it sucked. So now my KPIs for my fulfillment, for my sales team is going to look a little bit different if my constraint is show rate. So that Stoplight Report, it's important that you guys don't put the numbers that aren't actively impacting or changing whether you succeed or not. Keep it focused. 5 to 6 KPIs max. And again, I have a template for you guys on the Stoplight Report. So I have an exact template you can use. But you see the KPIs on the left, you see the targets right beside it, and then you have each week. And then your team lead, your department head, whoever on Sunday enters manually, this was my number for this one, my number for this one, my number for this one, and then colors it green, yellow, or red. And just psychologically owning, there's one thing to own the numbers and to say, hey, you own this number. But there's another to actually look at all the red on your Stoplight Report and realize, am I doing enough to solve this? Okay. Next is our dashboards. So when you have a Stoplight Report, you don't want to be like spending hours updating it. You don't want to have to search for the numbers. So every department in our company has a dashboard that's automated, that's timely, that's accurate. Okay. I stole that from Hormozy. I didn't come up with that either. So automated, timely, accurate, all of your dashboards. So again, because each of our departments are profit centers and are treated as such, they're all tracked. So I'll use HR as another perfect example. I know how many applicants Daniel's getting every week. I know how much it costs for the applicants. I know the LTV per hire that he's getting. I know the profit per hire that we're getting because I have that dashboard. So now when Daniel's doing his stoplight, Daniel, how long does it take you to do your stoplight on Sundays? 2 to 3 minutes, right? But he's updating it manually, but he's using the dashboard. Okay. So these dashboards, we've built them in a couple of different places. Most of ours is in Sales View, and I'm going to show you guys Sales View in a little bit. Maybe we've talked about it on a one-to-one basis. Most of our numbers are in Sales View, but our internal like HR, we usually use Looker Studio for most of those dashboards. If you guys are like less technical, Databox is a really good solution to build these dashboards in. Okay. So the next one is meeting rhythm. Arizona is like the driest state I've ever been in, so I'm going to abuse this water as I go here. So our meeting rhythm, right? So now I'm going to keep stepping back so you guys can see the whole vision because all of this really ties in together. We've got our 3-year plan. We know where we're going as a company. That trickles down into our quarterly planning, which trickles down into our stoplight reports, our dashboards for our departments. There's no meeting that we do as a team, now barring like working meetings where we're actually like building something together. There's no meeting we do with a team that isn't governed by some sort of data source. Okay, that isn't governed by a stoplight, that isn't governed by the dashboard or anything along those lines. Okay, we don't just jump on meetings without knowing what to work on. Okay, there's an owner to every single meeting that we have. If there's no owner for it, like if nobody's taking charge or owning the meeting, we don't do it. Because again, like kind of what Amy, you were telling me before, you guys just sit around and it feels productive, but then it's like you close the Zoom and you're like, hey, what the fuck did we just talk about for the last 2 hours, right? So all of our meetings has a stoplight report. It has the data. It has a data source. It has a leader and it has an agenda for all of our calls, right? Obviously for like the weekly calls, the ones that are recurring, we're not like building a new agenda every time. Like the agenda is usually always the same. Hey, let's cover the stoplight. Let's work on the reds. Let's work on the yellows. Let's update on our attack vectors. Like how are the actual solutions going in place? Do we need more attack vectors? Do we need to make any adjustments, any pivots? X, Y, Z. So it's really, really hands-on. It's really productive. All of our teams pretty much huddle daily, right? So like Ben said, our sales teams all huddle daily. They're an hour because they're doing sales training. Most of our other teams is 30 minutes, 15 minutes at most. Daniel, huddles daily with his recruitment team. He's got 2 people on his team. Shiloh with his engineering team, they huddle daily. They're doing 15 minutes. They're engineers. They don't really know how to socialize super well. So it's just 15 minutes in, out, and then on to the next one. Okay, so that's our meeting rhythm. A big, big key here that I actually almost missed is in all of our calls, in all of our meetings, we have a very, very large culture of candor. Okay, if anyone's read the Netflix book on hiring, Daniel probably spent 2 years convincing me to read that book. And I was always like, I don't want to read that book. And I read it and it was one of the most impactful books for just how we structure our meetings in general. Big culture on candor in the meetings. Like if you have someone in a meeting who's afraid to speak up and who's afraid to give feedback, then you guys will never be able to challenge yourselves and get to where you need to get to by the end of the call. And if you've got people in your meetings that you don't really want their feedback because you don't trust it, then, obviously Daniel gives you some really sound advice, which is those people probably shouldn't be on the team in the first place. So the engines. So the engine is exactly what Daniel showed you before, which is like that Miro board, right? So every department has processes that they follow on a week to week or a day to day. You should really only build engines because I fell into this trap, and a lot of like operators and founders fall into this trap where they just want to Miro every single thing in the business and they want to do these beautiful process maps and beautiful boards. and it feels productive, but it doesn't accomplish anything, you should really only value engine the components of that department that if it wasn't done right, it is crucial to their success. Okay, where there's a lot of steps and it has to be done incredibly well, right? So Shiloh, for example, when they're making updates to our database, right? Our database has, I don't know, Shiloh, what, 500,000 sales calls in it? All right, something crazy like that. Our database has a lot of data in it. It has from over 100 different businesses. It has thousands and thousands of data points. If a new engineer comes on or a new developer comes on, needs to update it, needs to add code to it or whatever it is, and he doesn't follow that process properly, that it could be crucial, right? That could like reset some of the data in our business for years and years and years of us building that. So those crucial elements have to be process mapped. There's 1,000 different ways to do a process map. It's really simple, guys. Just a square for an action, a diamond for a decision, and then that's all you need. You don't need to, hire a company to build your process maps for your company. You just go in there, the most crucial parts. Okay? Those live in the knowledge base, right? So now when I hire somebody who's new, I think it was Nathaniel that you were talking about Whop, and you're, talking about hiring operations and your COO. When I hire someone that's new, they have every process that they need to do on a day-to-day mapped out for the most part, like the important ones. And then the next one is now within that process map, there's always going to be things that have multiple steps, right? So for example, on Daniel's side, you guys saw the process map, first group interview, right? That first group interview, there's a lot of steps involved. So there's an SOP to it, and it links in the process map. It also links in the knowledge base. It's easy to find. It's accessible. Okay, so the steps that have more time and that need more a lot of direction, we have an SOP on it. Okay, and again, I've got templates for you guys and all this stuff that you can plug into your Claude. You build a project. What I recommend all of you guys do is have an SOP project in your Claude and a process map project, and always work on it within that project because it remembers it, it'll update it, and then the important thing here too is that somebody has to own these. Okay, so if you're using Claude and you have someone else on your team that's owning these, if you've got departments, it should be the department head. It should not be the founder. But if you're not at that size yet, where you don't really have teams, then it could be the COO, founder, or partner. You have to own these and you have to update them. I would say at least once a quarter. For the ones who are newer and you guys are a little bit like more lean and you're changing a lot quickly, because obviously the beginning stages, like a lot of shit changes very fast, then I would just update them once a month. Again, now with Claude, it takes 2 hours. A year ago, I was writing these manually. Now you have a project. Hey, I'm doing these updates. Get whisper flow, so you just speak into it. Hey, I'm doing these updates. We actually do it this way now instead of this way. Your Claude can connect to Miro. It can connect to the SOP. It does all of it. Okay. So, and then every time we update an SOP, we leave a last updated date. Okay. So all has to be tracked so that we know. Next one is the time studies. This is kind of a bonus because it's not really a department pillar, but we started doing this last year and we love it. So once a quarter, we have everyone do time studies in our company. It's basically, do I have a picture of it? No, I don't have a picture of it. I'll show you guys the folder after. It's basically just a Google sheet that maps out every 30 minutes of the day. And so we have everyone on the team do it. And they just, every 30 minutes, what did I do for the last 30 minutes? It takes no time. It doesn't take focus away. It's actually a lot of fun. And if you frame it to your team as like, hey, we all did this as the executive team and we learned so much and we got so much more effective. Here's this tool for you guys to use. It won't feel like an invasive kind of thing. For us, this was a huge, huge win. And we saw very quickly who was wasting time, who was spending time on the wrong things, right? Like I'd see 2 hours on analyzing data. And I'm like, man, you've got Sales View, you've got Claude, like that should take you 20 minutes. Hey, what's wrong with my data? And then you get the data back. It's really not that difficult, right? Or you got 2 hours on, let's say from a sales rep. I mean, we didn't really have our sales reps do this time studies because there's like 200 of them, 150 of them. But let's say you have a sales rep and you do your time study with them and you see 2 hours on outbound. And then you go look at their dials and they did 20 dials. And you're like, well, something's not adding up. And it doesn't mean you let them go, but it's you figure out, well, what's going on? And then you go look and you see, oh, they're like right-clicking, go high level and opening a new tab for every single contact and then reading through the conversation before they call. And they're looking at the last opportunity and trying to find the call recording. And then they finally hit dial. It doesn't mean they're lazy. It just means they're not the brightest maybe, right? Or they just don't have the best process. Okay. So the time studies really, really, really helped us with that. You know, one of the biggest things that we saw when we did our time studies was our executive team. We spent a lot of time bouncing around between things. That was one of the biggest things. And we all actually put our time studies through Claude and we had to analyze all of ours together and found weaknesses. It was a really cool exercise. We've done it, I think, 3 times now. But one of the things from the executive team, because we did it first before we asked our team to do it, and we actually sent it to them. We let our team see. We're like, hey, these are our time studies. And they all looked at them. You know, there's extreme transparency within net revenue. So the biggest thing we saw was I was bouncing around probably on average between every 20 minutes to a new thing, right? And, you know, a lot of you guys are like founder, but operators as well. That's probably you. Ambro was bouncing around. I think it was like every hour to a new thing. Shiloh was like every 6 minutes, right? So you cannot effectively build and you cannot build momentum if you're constantly hitting pivot and turning and changing and changing. So it really forced us, which now we all do, is we time block now. You know, like now it's like, hey, I want to do this thing. I'm blocking for it and I'm only doing that thing. I'm muting Slack. I'm muting this. That was a huge, huge wake up call for us. So I really recommend all you guys to do time studies. I have a template for you on it where you can map it out. It's really, really straightforward. Last thing, our tech stack. Okay. By the way, is this helpful so far? It's helpful so far for you guys? Yes? Good. Our tech stack. So transparently, this is not our entire tech stack as a company. Okay. I'm not qualified to talk on all of that. I actually, at one point, as I was COO, Ambro was like, you're so good at your job. We need another one of you. So then I grew a twin, who's Shiloh over there, who's our CTO. He owns our tech stack for the most part. So I'm going to cover what I'm competent at. And then a lot of the other things that piece these together, you guys can hammer him with questions. Like he said, if I don't get at least 1,000 questions asked today, it's a failure. Okay. But seriously, Anna was giving a thumbs up because she was already hammering him on Claude earlier. So the 6 things that I want to touch on within our tech stack are database, because to me, this is like something, a lot of you guys have sales agencies actually. I think there's like 4 sales agencies here. You all need to do this tomorrow, like as soon as humanly possible. Our Sales View, which I'm going to show you, our payment processor, which we've already kind of talked about, our error reports, our AI agents, and our Sales View MCP. Okay. So our database lives within BigQuery. Before Shiloh came on board, I was actually just telling Amanda this. I started building this, you know, at the very beginning. I have no code experience, no background, and ChatGPT didn't exist then. I was doing it on YouTube. And obviously I had meetings all day. So I was doing this between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. every day, figuring out how to code like an SQL BigQuery database. Shiloh came on board. He scrapped the entire thing within the first week. He threw it all out. It really was not up to snub, but it gave us a good 6 months of data. The key here is that what you all need to understand is every single Zoom call that you take, every application that you get, every phone call that you make, there is more than just the data you see in your CRM. Way more. Your CRM tells you their credit score, it tells you their capital, it tells you did they show up? When did they book the call? What the calls tell you are the thousands of little data points within the call about the prospects and about the buyers and about your members is way more data points than you can even imagine. Not just that, but the ones that your CRM does show you, CRMs are famously bad at compiling them in a way that is easy to pull really like strong reports from, right? Like I've got, let's say who's using Go High Level here by any chance? You guys go high level, go high level, go high level. So go high level, it is terrible for any sort of just like basic reporting, right? It's got like appointment statuses and then opportunity statuses and then like won and lost, lead statuses, and these things don't communicate well at all. And then you have automations that break half the time. It's terrible for it, right? So, and then even worse is it's even harder to go back and find, well, what has it been for the last 6 months? What has it been for the last year? Well, hey, if somebody books within 3 days, are they more likely to show up if they book within 1 day? You can't do that. But when you pull all of your data into a proper database, and unfortunately, I wish I could explain to you how it works from like a hierarchy standpoint. I cannot. We have a team that built it, and I recommend all of you guys start to learn a little bit more about that. And if you have somebody technical on your team to do that, if you have nobody technical on your team, a really good option is actually Airtable. So Airtable is no code. If you got nobody technical on your team, you can build a database within Airtable. So what this allows us to do now is We actually did a study a few months ago on show rate, right? Well, I told you guys we were working on our show rate a few months ago. The first thing we did is we did a study on it. And we were able to look at data from over 300,000 sales calls and what impacted the show rate from when they booked, from the days that they booked, the times that they booked, how far out did they book? Did they answer the first text message? How long did it take them to answer the first text message? Did they get called within a day, within 5 minutes? We're able to look at, and obviously now that you have Claude, we can plug it into our database. We don't need a data analyst on our team that we pay like, $200,000 a year for and went to Harvard XYZ. We can do all of this with Claude and with AI. We could pull really in-depth reports. So not only is it invaluable for our clients, right? Like we can give our client an amazing report on, their leads and their customers that they would not have known otherwise, but we can now build our attack vectors to solve the constraints in our stoplights based on real data, but like historical data, not recency bias, not like, oh, my sales guy just hopped off a call with somebody who didn't have any money, so we've got a quality issue and we got to go change the form and do this. It's all based off of the real data, okay? The next thing on our tech stack is Sales View. I'll actually show you guys Sales View. So our team built all of our sales reporting, okay? It all lives in one platform. We manage our entire sales team from this one platform. All of their call recordings, all of their calls are graded within it, all of the reporting, all of the close rates, the show rates, the speed to lead, the month-over-month growth, the individual sales team performance. I could go on forever. The leaderboards, it's all built within this one monster of a platform that we're constantly adding to. We actually don't really sell it. We have a couple people that use it outside of Net Revenue. Other than that, it's only our clients that use it. We will be letting all of you guys use it because if a lot of you guys did mention that reporting is a struggle for you and that data is a struggle for you, a lot of you guys do build sales teams. So we'll be doing like a free trial. I believe we said 2-month free trial for anyone who wants to use it and try it out. And then like you love it, great, you can stay on board. You love it, but you want to build it yourself and just steal all of it, you can do that too. We'll be getting all of you set up with that. But let me see if I can pull out here. Yeah, there you go. So this is a demo account. This is not a real business, but basically it looks like this. So now Ben, at a glance, can see our entire team's performance. He can filter for we call them products, but they might be accounts, right? Like he can filter for any product or any account. For the sales agency guys, it might be your accounts, and see their performance, right? He can filter for any role and see any user or any manager, right? If he wants to see the pods, like how's Travis's pod doing? Oh, they're doing horrible this month. I'm going to fire him, right? He can see that within a couple minutes. All of that data lives here, okay? All of our speed to lead. This is the most important thing, right? Remember when we told you our show rate, it sucked. We fixed it. If it weren't for this little dashboard, none of that would have been possible. Because the speed to lead, when we ran that report on the 300,000 calls that we had, the number one highest impact was speed to lead that affected the show rate. It was the number one thing by a mile, which by the way, we already knew before we did that report. We just didn't know it. The data would tell us that. The second thing was how far out they booked, right? So those were the two things and actually I think we're providing that report, right, Shiloh? That report is in the folder. Yeah. So you guys are actually getting that report. I think it was like a 40-page report on some of the sales calls. Yeah, okay. So it was multiple reports. The lead time one is provided, okay? We just redacted it to remove like client names and sensitive information. But so we found like, hey, speed to lead is the most important thing to impact show rate. Let's put it on the dashboard. So we've got speed to lead and we've got speed to booking. We've got sales cycle, and then we've got on the side, the leads that are contacted within which period, right? So you can see on this demo account, 9% of their leads don't even qualify for speed to lead because they weren't called in the first day, right? Like that's a problem, right? 9% of those leads aren't getting called in the first day. They're being pushed the next day. So maybe they're coming in really late, who knows? But you might want to consider like, well, I might need more manpower, for example. So that's the dashboard. Same thing here. You can see all the data. So I can see my commissions. It's actually also an ECS platform. So we manage all of our team's statements in here, and we don't pay our team through here, but we process their statements. We send them their statements. We approve transactions. We reject them. So, for a team like us, where it's like all of our sales reps are contractors, they're technically contracted through us, but they sell for other companies. There's a lot of logistics and moving around and complexities. This just makes it really, really easy for us. Our leaderboards here. So you can see Sally Pipeline is just absolutely crushing it. I think she's beating Jay this month. I'm just joking. It's not a real person. Goals and quotas. So especially for like people who've got their team on salaries and they have got really strict quotas that they have to abide by to hit bonuses, this is where I would use this a lot more. And then all of the recordings live here. So these recordings, I could file them into folders. Ben can go at a glance and open up a call recording, and he can go see, hey, this person did, well, okay, this one's pretty consistent, but let's say all of them were 9 out of 10, but then the discovery was 4 out of 10. And he's like, well, I'm not going to listen to an hour-long call. Let me just listen to discovery. What went wrong? This is actually graded based on our process, right? So we've got our 60-page or 80-page playbook, and then we had about 200 successful calls that was plugged into it, and we built a like 40-page long prompt or process that guides the calls through it. It's really, really accurate. It does follow exactly like each process, but the thing is, if you've got a closer who doesn't follow process but performs really well, he will get low grading. So that's just something to keep in mind. And maybe you should ask yourself, well, hey, should I maybe change my process if this guy's crushing it and he's always low graded, right? You could see your breakdown, you could see your notes. And then my favorite part is I can leave comments. So as I'm listening to calls, I can leave comments and it tags the salesperson so they get those comments. And then, like I said, all of these calls live on our database, right? Everything that the Sales View is pulling within these analysis lives in the database, and it can later be pulled and reported upon and analyzed. And then obviously the last portion is our statements, our team, our products, all that fun stuff. Okay, so this is where like I can actually process all the statements for my team, prepare, and I could send them and then get everyone paid. Cool. So that's Sales View. Next, oh, I had a picture of it, but it's kind of useless now. It has a dark mode. If you like dark mode better, it's easier on the eyes. So one more on our side. Oh no, actually we got 2 more is Whop. So we use Whop for all of our payment processing on our team. But like Wade said, we also use it in all of our accounts for the most part, not all of them. For us, it becomes a way easier to keep. This is more for the agencies in the room. If you guys are only processing for yourself, obviously Whop's incredible and they'll get you guys like incredible rates. But for the agencies in the room, we're able to build on our LTV per client. And then if there's a client where we do like a temporary thing for, so for example, we sold for an event for one client, we sold for 3 months for them, we filled out their event, we got paid really, really well. But when we brought them on board, we brought them on Whop. They're still using Whop today. They're not doing events anymore. They're selling something else. They're still using Whop. We still get paid from that business. So I've got almost like a royalty. I helped this company for 3 months, and now I've got a royalty of an affiliate from this company in perpetuity, right? So I actually think if you guys do talk to Ari today, I actually think he's got an affiliate structure that he will extend to everybody here that's a little bit better than what they normally do. So I recommend you do that. If you work with businesses and you close deals for them for all the agencies or the marketers, is invaluable. Okay, you'll increase your LTV, you'll get royalties on clients forever. Really, really invaluable. And then the easiest part is from an operations standpoint, everything comes through one place. Right, so it's so much easier to integrate on. I don't have to always bounce around between softwares. Now, not all of our clients use it, but I think almost 90% do at this point. Error reports. So this is not really a tech stack. This is something that we're going to be giving you guys the full prompt of how we did it, and then an actual sample error report. Our error reports. This has been one of the, and it stands for Avatar Intelligence Report. So I'm really saying Avatar Intelligence Reports. But basically, what it does is it pulls from all of the calls that, like I was talking about, and it puts together a report on the actual messaging of the sales calls from the avatars who are most likely to buy. Okay, so we give it usually between 500 and 1,000 calls, depending the volume of the account. Our goal is to do it every quarter. We started doing it recently. Our goal is to do it every single quarter. For newer accounts, we might do it every month that are changing a lot. And then it pulls a report and it looks at not just the ads, not just the funnel, but the sales calls. What are the people saying? So 100 people bought in the last quarter. What was the pain they had? What was their job? Why did they book the call? What did the closer say to make them buy? What did the closer say that created a paradigm shift? And it packages it into a report. And then after it goes to the ones who didn't buy, what did they say? What are the differences? What did the closer not say that they said on the closing ones? And it gives you basically the action items that like, here is what you need to put in your ads. Here's what you need to put in your call script. Here's what you need to put on every stage in the process to get a higher win rate across the board. Okay, so we've started doing this across all of our partners. We've seen a huge uptick in our ROAS, our cash per book call, our close rates across the board. So actually, I think I have an example. Yeah, I don't have the example, but one of our clients it was actually the one that Travis was referencing, the funding account. And this is the one that I'm providing for you guys. It's a 60-page error report. Their cash per book call, Travis, what was it on your slides? I think it was 817. Oh, I nailed it. It was 817 cash per book call. Their cash per book call last month, Travis, $400 more cash collected per book call. We didn't get new closers. Same exact closers, same setters. What changed was the messaging in the ads, because we had this report that told us to say these things instead. And then we changed out very key points of the script, and we focused on other areas of the script. And $817 to $1,200, it's a $400 increase per booking that you're getting on the board. Right? That's for profit for a company, that's a huge, huge, huge lift. So we'll be giving you guys as much as possible to prompt. Obviously, you need to have the calls to feed into it. And then we'll be giving you a sample report. You can see the table of contents here. We'll give you a sample report that you guys can use to, build your frame based off of. Last one is our AI agents. So we were using OpenClaw. We switched to Viktor now. So Viktor is like a really easy plug and play. I don't know has anyone used Viktor? Anyone seen it? No? Who's using OpenClaw? You guys are? Successfully? So no? Okay. Yeah, so our goal with the AI agents was not to replace people. It was to make people more effective. And so while we didn't really ever fire anyone because we now had AI to do it, we didn't hire somebody because we now had somebody using AI to do it, if that makes sense. So I think that paradigm shift for how we started using it really made it more accessible for us, because it wasn't about fully automating from end to end. Okay. So on our side, like I said, we use Viktor for it. I recommend all of you guys go check it out. It's been really, really good. It integrates directly into Slack. It's, I believe, like, how long was the setup for it, Shiloh? It was like 10-minute setup. We obviously had all of the documentation from OpenClaw and all the skills that we built. But if you're doing SOPs, like I told you, and you've got process maps, like I told you, those skills become very, very easy to build, because now you just pull everything from your knowledge base and you plug it in and you build the skills for it. Okay. So we've started using this. The biggest impact we've seen with the AI agents is on our account management. So we used to have about one account manager for every 5 accounts. Like one of our AMs would just help with 5 companies. Now they manage, I think, like 18 each, 17 each. So they've more than tripled their productivity, because I don't need to log into every single CRM. I don't need to log in. I don't need to adjust the calendars. I can just hit Viktor and say, hey, let's do this, right? And then I can schedule it. I can say, hey, every Friday, I want you to extend the calendar by 1 day because our closers don't work weekends and I need an extra day on the calendar, right? Or, hey, every Monday, I want you to send a report to this client outlining the attack vectors that we're working on, based on the meeting notes, XYZ, okay? The last part is the Sales View MCP. So the Sales View MCP is what we built on the back end of Sales View to connect it to Claude. So all of our sales reps can now communicate with their data within Claude. So when you guys are building your database, when you guys start actually working on this and you build this, you can build an MCP that connects to it. And now again, like our sales reps can go into Claude and say, hey, which are my hottest leads that I should follow up with today based on the calls? And it'll go through the calls. It knows, it already has them stored, and it'll find Tony, it'll find, Jerry, and say, hey, these guys said they wanted to buy today. Reach out to them, right? It automatically updates our notes in the CRM, and it automatically updates all of our data in the CRM. Right? So our sales reps don't update data anymore. It listens to the call, and then it says won, lost, closed, no show, XYZ. Our closers get to actually focus on closing. They don't have to do as much admin work anymore. Next is execution. Okay, so that was a lot from end to end. Every single thing I showed you guys there, you're getting some variation of a template that you can start using. My recommendation is to start with the stoplights. My recommendation is to start to think about what are the most important things in your company that impact whether or not you hit your goals, okay? And then build it into a stoplight report, green, yellow, red. And then from there, start building into, okay, let's process map, let's SOP. How do I actually do these things that hit those goals? And then slowly but surely, you can build an actual dialed in operating system that can scale along with you guys. And you're not scrambling, trying to build everything from scratch every single time and communicate with every single team member. Cool? All right. Thank you very much. All right, so that is the whole system. Now, if you want to apply, go ahead and click the link below to apply for the mastermind. Someone from our team will be in touch. Inside the program, you get access to bi-weekly calls with our executive team, quarterly one-on-ones with our team where we help you plan your annual plan, your quarterly sprints, and full access to our entire partnership network. All of our tools, all of our resources, our entire internal knowledge base as a whole becomes completely available to you. So if you're trying to scale from roughly $1 to $3 million a year, all the way up to $10 million a year, the boardroom will help you accomplish that sustainably without sacrificing your sanity along the way. Now, this operating system, truthfully, is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. It will help you scale sustainably, but there are plenty of other things upstream that can seriously hold you back from growing, including your closers, how skilled your sales team is. You could have the best operating system in the world, but if your sales team is not dialed in, then you will not be able to scale as a company. So watch this video next where I show you the exact scripting system we use for all of our businesses and all of our closers, and the exact AI tools that we use to grade every call against the script to make sure their team is actually following the process. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.